Hey guys, it's Julie. I am at Target right now and I just realized that I did not press record on my intro portion of today's video. It's going to be all about the Seint silk and satin pencils. We're going to try out a few new shades on the lips, the cheeks, and as a contour. And we have some new lip gelato colors that I didn't have before. I just got a new shipment in from Seint, so I want to show you guys those. I want to explore different brushes for our 3D Seint foundation application today that we didn't use in our last video. And I also want to show you a new color selection inspired by the new Dior spring makeup look, but using Seint products. And then lastly, I want to cover our fabulous new room spray. Our room and linen spray is absolutely divine. You have to get it immediately. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. But before we do so, make sure that you hit that like button and you subscribe, so that lets me know the time it takes to make and edit these videos is well worth it. I hope you enjoy. Now, the last video I did, I used our contour stick in Cappuccino to create the contour. Today, I'm going to go back to the OG or original way of applying Seint makeup, which is to start with the contour in the pan. So I have Astoria. This is my 3D makeup. I have Astoria contour from Seint. I have Athens cream makeup. This is called a highlight in the Seint world. Highlights are your cream makeup. And then we have Aura, which is slightly lighter than June, and it's less yellow. So we're going to try that to just give a little bit more pop and dimension to the face. We're going to apply the Seint lip balm. This is my favorite Seint lip balm. I found that lip balms before lip products is a really great thing. And this one smells like peaches. And it has like a just slightly pearlescent finish. This is a wonderful product that Seint makes. It's very cooling upon application. It's soothing. It does not burn. It has a nice fine mist. Now I am at the bottom of my bottle here, so we're going to have some little foamy bits in the hair. And we just kind of want to, press this in and let it sit. We want to prepare our Perfector sponge. I have been loving our Perfector sponge for getting that seamlessly smooth makeup application after the application of our Seint cream makeup. I was not always a fan of using this, but recently have decided, yes, I do like this, so I've been implementing it every day. I was getting a little bit impatient with the Plush Prep Mist, so I went in with my Perfector sponge and just kind of helped it along a little bit. And I think this really works to absorb any extra product. The last video I made, we used our Pilot brush, which I really love this brush. But today, I kind of want to educate you on some of our other brushes. So I think today, what we will do is let's compare it to the 3D. Let's see how this brush applies. This is the original 3D brush that Seint makes, and it is very similar, as you know, to the Pilot brush. But I feel like the Pilot brush is just slightly more airbrushed. So what we're going to do is we're going to start carving out all the areas where, I'm going to use this side because it's very precision. We're going to start carving out where we see those shadows usually. So we want to have a shadow underneath our very high and defined cheekbone. And then over here, and I have such a bad habit of not holding up the product, I want to show you what all this looks like. And this is just, we're pretending like we are somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience applying the makeup. And how user-friendly is it when we don't have experience? Can we use this right out of the compact? So with Seint, you don't want to swipe. We're not swiping the makeup. We're pressing into the makeup and collecting the product. And again, this is our contour color. We're going to go kind of, on the forehead, right next to the hairline. We're kind of coming into this cheek area here, okay, and just adding a little bit of dimension, okay, and it doesn't have to be perfect right now because we're starting with the contour. We're going to go back and fill in all the areas that we need coverage. So we're going to be airbrushing and smoothing out everything at the end. So we're just kind of popping it on, kind of an underpainting technique, if you will. And then you could take this and just kind of go on the nose angles. And again, I'm not being precise today. We're just throwing it on because this is meant to be kind of fast. All right, we're putting it all over the nose, and then we'll come back at the end and touch up. So now I'm going to come underneath the jaw. I am feeling just a slight bit more tug with this brush, where with the Pilot brush I don't feel that tug as much. All right, we've got our contour on. All of our darker areas are on. Okay. You could even go in the eye area and just contour the lid just a little bit. Okay. Now the magic begins. Okay, so we have those dark splotchy areas. It doesn't look really great right now. Now we're going to rotate to this side of the brush and we're going to go into Athens. This is a really beautiful color. And we're just going to cover in the cheek area. And we're kind of going around the contour. We don't really want to go directly on top of that. And I like to go on the chin where I need a little bit more coverage. And then on this forehead, mid-forehead. And that looks really good. Okay, so anywhere that needs coverage from redness, we might actually go underneath the nose here too, because this area is red. Now everywhere else, we're going to add that really like poppy bright color, and we're going to use Aura today. So these are the colors again: Astoria, Athens, and Aura. We're going to take this color now, and we're just going to kind of go underneath the eyes. And I was always against using the Seint cream makeup in the eye area because I felt like it creased. But ever since I have been using some really nice eye products, I feel like it goes on much smoother now. So again, I'm just patting. I'm not raking it across that area because our eye area is just so thin. So paper thin. Maybe even less than paper thin. And I like to come on each side of the nose too with this lightest color. Looks really good. I like this Aura. And then I like to come between the brows. You can really see how fast this is. Super fast. No fuss. And then I like to come on the jawline. Right underneath where I contoured. Or on the upper lip. And then down the center of my nose. Okay, now we can go in and just kind of pat everything with this fluffy side and just make sure everything is blended. Okay, and we're going to take that Perfector sponge now and we'll just kind of press it in. And we want to dampen this before we start and squeeze out any excess water. So today you're seeing a different application. You're seeing me use a different brush. So there's so many different ways that you can experiment with using the Seint makeup, and you do what you like. If you're like me, you like to try different things every week so you don't get bored. Okay, so all that is pressed in. It looks really good. A good base for everything. Now I'm going to do my brows, and if you remember from the last video, I used the cappuccino in my brows. Right, so I have one of our new silk lip pencils. These are budge proof pencils. We also have a satin formula, which is more blendable and great for contouring, but we are going to use the cappuccino color, which is our shade right here. I'm going to do some swatches today because we have some more pencils that came in the mail. I wanted to share with you the different swatches. So this is cappuccino. It's really great for someone like me. We're going to take our pencil and just kind of fill that in. And it's going to be a budge proof brow. And it's kind of, it has like a waxiness to it, so it kind of lays down the hairs as well, which I really like. And it's very quick because it's a chubby pencil. And then what I like to do before it sets is I like to use our line brush, which is it has a spoolie on one end for brows, and then this angled stiff bristle brush, which is great for eyebrows. And then I go back and just kind of lift the hair. And that's really it. This is just such a quick way to do brows. And I'm so glad finally that Seint has these products in their lineup, which are going to be longer wearing, because we know that creams have a reputation for moving around and being greasy, and that's just not the case with these particular pencils. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to do the other brow and I'll be right back. So if you watched my last video, you know that I love our black silk pencil smudged into the lash line. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to start before eyeshadow by smudging this in. And I'm just going to do the outer edge of my upper lash line. And then I'm going to use our etching brush. This is just a really good brush for smudging up and moving the product along the lash line. Because with a chubby pencil, it's really hard to get, you know, precision. So best to just go ahead and smoke it up. Another great idea, which I like to do, is use our lash brush. It's kind of like a fan brush. It's going to be a great brush for blending as well because it has a bullet blender on the other end. And the fan side is good for fanning out any clumps in your mascara. So I really like this side for just buffing in and smoothing out that smoky eye using that black budge proof silk pencil. Okay, you can see how beautiful that is. I'm going to take the residual product that's on this bullet tip on my lash brush. I'm going to just smudge it into the lashes on the bottom because I don't really like a lot of liner on my bottom lashes. And I'm going to put on my Moxie lashes today. I got two new sets. Moxie Lash Flashy Lash. These are magnetic. And these are some of the best magnetic lashes that I have ever used. Usually I'm not a fan of magnetic lashes, but these last all day and they're very comfortable. And then I have the Sassy Lash. And this is the Sassy Lash. A little bit more fluttery. think I want to do the sassy lashes today. They're really pretty. I'm going to start using the Moxie Lash Liner. It doubles as a black liquid eyeliner and a magnetic base for your lashes. And this is the tip. We're going to apply that really quickly. And you want to let it set for 3 minutes. And you want to make sure that you get enough on, because you don't want your lashes, you know, coming off during the day because you didn't put enough of the magnet liner on. So you can see it, it's definitely shiny. And I try not to get it in my lashes because you don't want to have your lashes sticking to the lash. You want it sticking to the skin. So we have this timer set for 3 minutes. I'm going to go to these shadows that I just picked out today. They're so pretty. We have Atlantic, Ice, Midnight, and Mama. I like to have kind of a warmer or rosier tone when we're using so many cool shades. I like to have a transitional shade that is warm to kind of break up that monotony. And we're going to apply these super quick before we put our lashes on. We don't want to wait too long because then it'll be harder to get the lashes on if the liner has dried too long. But these are all from Seint. So I'm going to go into my inner corner with the Ice, a little bit in that inner corner on both sides, just to kind of awaken the eye. And it's important to not go over the magnetic liner. I don't normally do it this way. I usually do shadow first, but just kind of got excited about my new magnetic lashes that I forgot. Okay, then I want to go into the Atlantic color, which is just slightly darker, very similar. And we're going to go across the lid. I love these shimmery seafoam colors. And then we'll take our Mama using the fluffy side of the eyeshadow brush, and we'll just, you can see that this is a very popular color with me. We're going to transition really quickly into the crease. Okay, so before I do any more, let's go ahead and put our lashes on. So I have my magnetic lash. Just going to hold it in a comfortable manner. I'm going to try to get this on for you to see. We're going to go here, and it just kind of clicks on. These are really pretty. I like the wispiness. And those just went on so easily. And I just love the way this full strip looks. Let me come a little bit further over. Okay. No trimming necessary today. We've got them on. And I just push down just to make sure they're on, and they are. Wow, these are so fun. So much fun. I love it. Okay. You look great. I could move this one over just slightly, but I'm wondering, should I just continue on? I don't really want to mess with it. I think I'll leave it for today, but you guys get the idea. They're so pretty. They're very pretty. I love it. These are Moxie Lash Magnetic. Now we're going to kind of do some smoking. We're going to go into Midnight, and we're going to add just a little bit more drama on this outer corner. Sometimes it's helpful to have your liner and your lashes done so you know how much of this you need. So I love a good quad combination of colors. It really helps shape the eye, makes it look so perfect. Looks really pretty, doesn't it? And see, that warmth from the Mama is really nice, because otherwise it looks kind of dated when you're using all cool or all warm colors. and you don't have any contrast, it just looks more dated. Because I feel like the 80s and the 90s were very matchy-matchy. Do you guys remember the store Wet Seal? I used to love Wet Seal because you would have your area of purple and you'd have scrunchies and jewelry to match your clothing, and then you'd have your area of gray or pink. That was the way it was. Okay, for underneath the brow, I'm going to use what's left of my very much loved Feather Dust blotting powder. This is just a really pretty brightening powder. Or you could use Sunday, which is one of our advent calendar colors. So I can't find my Sunday right now, so I'm going to use this Feather Dust, and it just kind of brightens up underneath the brow. This is also a really great powder for your face, to if you like a brightening setting powder, kind of similar to the Dior illuminating setting powder that they just came out with, and that puffy compact. This one's kind of like that. Go in the inner corner and brighten. Okay, so I really love this eye look, by the way. All right, before we go any farther, let's examine what I got in the mail from Seint. I went ahead and ordered some more silk and satin lip pencils, and I ordered some more of the gelatos, which are the clickable lip sticks that are really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and do some swatches. So I have another silk pencil. These are the Budge Proof formulas in caramel. Okay, and I usually use this on my lips to kind of line, but it's not one of my favorite colors. And then the other silk pencil that I have that's Budge Proof is the black. And you saw me use that on the eyes. Okay, and we'll test those out in just a minute. They are truly Budge Proof, as you saw in my last video. All right, in my box, I have a couple of fun products. So let's get to the pencils first. So we have a couple of satin lip pencils. I have a cinnamon silk. Okay, so this is brand new. Cannot wait to compare this to, and look how pointy they are. I wish there was a way to keep them looking like that, because that's awesome. This is the cinnamon, which I assume has a little bit more of a reddish brown tone. So cappuccino is more taupey brown, more true brown. And then we have the cinnamon, which will be great as a lip liner. Again, the silk pencils are not really good for doing contour over cream makeup. They just set too quickly. And let's go ahead and jump in to the contour sticks, the satin pencils, which can be used as contour, eyeshadow, lip, whatever you want to do. This is mulberry. So I thought we would try that. That's going to make a beautiful blush or lip color. So again, this is the non-budge proof formula. And then we have brownie. And I was thinking of using this as a contour over what I already have. Let's see what it looks like. Kind of your brown color. Okay. Let's compare that to pepper, because that pepper is what I used to contour with last time. Pepper is a satin pencil, so here's pepper. Okay, so definitely try this one for contour and see how we like it today. Okay, so here's our Budge Proof. See that? These are the silk, and these are the satin, and they're definitely more smoothing and smudgy. So I feel like that's very helpful. So I just wanted something a little bit darker than pepper. So I want to go in with my satin brownie and do some contouring. So what I love about this is that you have time to blend these, and they're going to stay really smooth. So we'll just go back to our 3D brush, and we're going to kind of just lightly airbrush that in. I have not set my face with powder yet, so it should go on nice and smooth. And this just gives a lot more color than the pepper. Kind of a like a rosy reddish color, which I like. It's not neutral. I think pepper is probably going to be more subtle and more neutral. Alternatively, you could use the detail brush is going to be more of that rectangular brush. It's going to keep it more in one place. If you like your contour to not be all over your cheek area, then use that detail brush. It's going to keep it more streamlined for you, but I don't mind it. And then I'm just intensifying over the Astoria. I really like these pencils. I feel like you get a little bit more blendability. They're smoother. The contours that come in the tin are definitely harder packed, or just they're not as blender friendly. But they've always been wonderful and I've loved using them. So it just depends if you're going to want your contour kind of in the palette and not as a separate product, you might want to stay with the 10 contour. But if you want something more creamy and smooth and you don't mind having it in a pencil, you might like this. Or you might be like me and you might like to have both. I'm just kind of using the side of the pencil instead of the tip for the jaw. So I just cannot rave enough about the pencils. Love them. And you can see that they're super, excuse me, they're super blendable. And I've recently watched some videos on YouTube on the new Dior spring collection, and I know that they have a mint eyeshadow palette, and this kind of reminds me of that a little bit. But I love the formula of Seint eyeshadows. They're much more blendable and smooth. Dior is trying to do this thing where they're making everything natural, and their formulas are just not the same since they've done that. But if you're someone that likes all natural makeup, then maybe that'll appeal to you. Let's do a little bit of the mulberry on the lips. I think this purple toned lip color will be perfect. On the lips. And we're just going to soften this down just a little bit with a lip brush. Here, we're just going to soften it up. I think I'm going to use this paddle side and kind of move it kind of inward. And something I've noticed about the satin formula, which is not budge proof, is they're still, they're going to grab on to your skin. It's not like they're not long wearing. Okay, and I like that because it just softened that down just a little bit. Okay, let me go back to Brownie and see how that performs on the nose. We want to do that nose contour. So what I'm going to do is just let's do kind of step by step. And my favorite brush for this is actually the Pilot brush. So I like to open up this side where the fluffy brush is, and I like to use this brush, which is really tiny, and this is good for contouring. So we're going to go in a little bit at a time and just kind of blend and apply as we go down the nose and see how we like it. So I like it here. It looks really good. Look at that. Okay, and then it's much more dramatic than the pepper, isn't it? And then we're going to go down. This is always a challenging part of my nose because the other side here has a bump in it. Okay, that looks good. And then this is the side that has the bump. And we're just kind of going on top of the nose, but making sure that the very top of the nose does not have any contour on it. Just a little beam of light going down that center portion of the nose. And then we can go like kind of like right here. Just a little bit. And I like that. It looks good. And then here I have some shadows. Just kind of finding your natural contours. And then over here as well. So if you don't want to emphasize the tip of your nose, then you wouldn't want to do these last shadows on your nose. But that really helps define my nose, I think. That looks good. And I might want to just make it slightly thinner here. Just kind of do some work here. There we go. And then our illuminating cream at the end, or powder, we will use that down the center of the nose to brighten. But so there's the contour. That looks so good. And this was all done with our brownie pencil. For the bottom lashes, I want to use our Lash Leather mascara by Seint. I really love this one because it's a tubing formula and it's going to last all day. And it's great for both the top and the bottom lashes. But for today, since we already have some beautiful lashes on from Moxie, we're going to use this on the bottom only. It's going to complement the look because it's very wispy and feathery, not clumpy. So I get questions about whether I prefer Moxie magnetic lashes to the Lilac Street extensions. I like both. They're both fantastic and they look great and they save me time. But with the lash extensions from Lilac Street, you have those on for anywhere from 3 to 5 days, depending on how well you apply the glue. Sometimes longer. And you know, the removal process for the Lilac Street is easy enough, but I just feel like it does a number on my natural lashes, where the magnetic lashes are not going to, you know, make your regular lashes puny. So we're going to go back to the Perfector sponge and just make sure everything is pressed in and looking seamless. Now, as you know from my last video, you know that I like to use Seint's lip tints for the cheeks. They're really great at giving your cheeks a longevity. Underneath the Seint cream cheek colors, I like to use these lip tints. Today we're going to use the color Jam, which is going to complement this tone, the mulberry, really nicely. So we're going to use that on the cheeks. And I just like to use my finger to kind of blend this out. I like how deep this is. It almost reminds me of Ever Red lip and cheek color from Seint. And it's good to kind of switch back and forth between your fingers when you're using the lip tint. It's not really mentioned to be a stain, but it lasts so long on the lips. It's wonderful. And I love the sheen that it has. It just has such a pretty finish. I almost don't want to put anything else over it. So it's good to just put like a few dots because it is very, very much pigmented. And keep it high and to the side of your face, because you want to reserve that brightening color. If at any point you feel like you have too much, you could just take your sponge and just kind of tap it on your Perfector. And just pressing this in and moving it in kind of an oval motion, then we can certainly go in with the sponge and just kind of make sure that that's pressed in. Okay, you could certainly take any residual makeup in your foundation brush just to kind of blend and soften your blush. That kind of helps. See how that airbrushes everything. And then we're going to take the jam and just ever so lightly kind of let this sit for just a few minutes to stain the lips. We're going to go in with the lip and cheek color in Ultra Violet, and we're going to add that over the lip stain. I think this is going to look really pretty. I'm going to use the wash brush. We're just going to do a wash of the Ultra Violet because we already have the jam underneath. And this is just going to help it cling. It's going to brighten up and blur over the top of the lip tint and jam. I really love these violet hues. They're so pretty. I am going to go in with my detail brush, and I am going to use the smaller end just to do a little bit more brightening in the eye area. Just kind of finishing off the look with some brightening and airbrushing. And now we're going to use what's left of my feather dust blotting powder. I'm going to use this side of the wash brush. This is a really good side to use with this brightening powder because you don't really want to use it all over, just kind of in the T-zone and underneath the eyes to brighten and mattify and airbrush. It is a really nice powder. And you're setting everything. This area is just always showing texture right here, so I'm going to get that. And as you know, Seint discontinued their powder illuminators, which I really liked. The cream illuminators are still available, but they're just so subtle. I feel like they're redundant because the makeup is already so glowy. So today I'm going to use Sis. I'm going to use the large end of the wash brush. Sis is an eyeshadow, and we're just going to use it kind of like an illuminator. So it's just going to give you a little bit of a glow. Soulmate is also a really good one to use. This kind of reminds me of Photoshop a little bit. And then I like to use it down the center of my nose. Just really subtle. I'm just going to go ahead and set everything. I'm going to use our Fixate setting spray. This is our brand new setting spray. And this one we're going to spray right before I blow dry and style my hair. All right, I've got my hair styled and it's cooling, so it's not exactly where I need it to be. But we're going to try, as the finishing touch on the lips today, we're going to try the lip gelato. So I already have a couple of colors of this. The Sugar Plum. So we'll try that. And these are click up, and you cannot click them back down. And this is a beautiful shimmery glassy pink. This one is Dolce, which is a very pretty natural color, kind of an orangey color. Orangey nude. Melon. And I did have Cocoa Marrow, but I ran out of that one, and that one's really pretty too. So I ordered some other colors. This one's kind of an orangey color as well. Let's see what we have in the box. So first of all, they come in a box, and I love this product. They're long wearing. They're kind of similar to the new Dior on stage lipsticks that have that shine and longevity, although these are a lot shinier. So this color is called Cotton Candy, And it's a really beautiful pink color. And we're going to place this one right here. So for today's look, I don't think I'm going to go for that. It's a little bit too pink. Strawberry. A little bit more of a muted pink, not as neon pink. And this one looks comparatively like so, more sheer. Okay. So there's that one. More sheer and soft. And then the last one I bought was the hibiscus, which is kind of a red color. I thought that would be fun. Definitely not for today's look though. We have this mauve color scheme going on. And this is hibiscus. Ooh, just a little bit is all you need. So that is a beautiful red. Definitely like a nice neutral red. It's not too warm, not too cool. So I think I'm gonna go for the strawberry today. I think that'll glaze nicely over the top of what we have going on. Remember, we have the lip tint on. So we're gonna do strawberry, and I'm gonna show you the glassiness of this. Just has such a beautiful finish. And this is a great color because it lets whatever's underneath, like a liner or a tint, show through. And a little bit goes a long way. And I might go back with a little bit more of the mulberry. And I will definitely be using mulberry on the lips and not as a contour. Maybe a blush, possibly. Okay. So that is it. Let's go ahead and fluff up the hair and see what the finished look looks like. I am so sorry for all these gray hairs. I am 45. So that is obviously a sign of the times. And I'm just going to take my, my perfector and just press everything in because it's looking a little bit heavy in this area here. I think this just does such a great job. And that was the setting spray, of course, that we had put on. So we definitely want to push that deep into the skin. Okay. And that looks really beautiful, very luminous. And it looks great. Everything looks so pretty. And I got to try on our new products that came in. All right, here is the finished look. It looks so pretty. And the glow is just insane on this makeup. I just love it so much. And the pencils are super easy. The eyeshadows and the lashes. Everything. The lips. Look at the lips. Looks so great. I did get one other product, but I got the room spray, so I'm going to try that right now. This one's supposed to smell like our Heavenly Hair Oil. So here is the bottle. Isn't that pretty? Ooh, it smells so good. Oh my goodness. You are going to love this. And how amazing would this be as a perfume saint? This is absolutely divine. Oh my gosh. Let's see if we can get some smells on. Maybe I'll let some fall on me too. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's got like a spa, powdery, smooth and yummy fragrance to it. I absolutely love that. Oh my gosh, you're going to get lots of compliments if someone enters your house. They need to do a candle. They need to do a whole collection of that. That is fantastic. Oh, you got to get that. You got to get it. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed another of my videos. Please like,
please subscribe. I need your help. We just don't get enough views on here. I mean, truly, am I that ugly, people? No, just kidding. Anyways, I guess it's the algorithm or whatnot, or maybe I just talk way too much, but I really love Seint. We'll have to do some other videos. I have a lot of Dior that I'd like to try, and I notice people really like to watch Dior videos, so we'll try some of that. But Seint is my go-to brand, okay? So I will see you guys in the next video, and thank you for your time. Hope this helps. Make sure that you, if you want to give me credit, that you shop using my affiliate link. You can stay loyal to your normal Seint person, but, you know, if you feel like I've given you something a little extra, to help you make your decision in shopping, I'd love to have credit. I'd love to get credit for that. So use my affiliate link, and let me know if you have any questions or comments in the comment section. All right, we'll see you guys later. Have a great day.